Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. So after going over the case study, it really was really quite interesting and made me think about myself as a patient and my views on the healthcare industry and how it works. So after going over the slides, also it made me reflect on, the reason why a lot of things are the way they are. And these are my answers after going through the slides and reading the case study. So for number one is the discussion between the provider and the patient. It served its purpose, but more so for the doctor because he was precise and to the point, and he was all about the observation and the test. On the other hand, the patient was trying to answer the questions and add to the provider's questions, but he would keep cutting her off, and that I believe could lead to dissatisfaction on the patient side, and contribute to the 40 to 50% of the patients that don't follow the provider's advice because they're not feeling that they're being heard. Second is, how did the provider's interruptions of the patient's communication contribute or distract from the provider's information gathering? I think the disruptions may get to resolving the issue quicker because the provider kind of feels, he has like a preconceived notion of what's going on based on what he's getting, but this could also lead to missing key information that resulted in a different outcome. Going too fast and assuming could lead to a misdiagnosis and possibly unintended malpractice. So I think he should slow down. Number three, what did the students learn about the communication between the patient from this example? And as a student, I would say that I learned to slow down and to be slightly more involved, interacting a little bit more to gauge the patient's personal and social identity. As a doctor, I don't believe that you can possibly treat everybody the same way, exactly the same way. So I think that slowing down and asking a few more personal questions would have been good. Number four, describe how the provider's nonverbal communication communicates his status or his role. And the behavior that the provider used to communicate was totally verbal. He repeatedly interrupted the patient and corrected her when she was trying to explain that she did have diarrhea, and he went and corrected her about the real definition of diarrhea. Depending on the type of patient he's dealing with, the outcome could be quite different, and he can come off as rude and condescending because he was not allowing for the information to flow freely. He wasn't listening. He was just making up his mind as he was getting little bits of information. Number five, what verbal communication of the patient would you like to be expanded? And I would like the patient's communication to be expanded at the point where she says and the doctor interrupts her, because that and it could be just about her feelings, but it could be additional information that the provider could use for a better diagnosis. So that's what I would like to have expanded on the patient side. On the communication from the provider, what I would change is I would not change so much his communication, but I would rather change his bedside manner, the way he's carrying himself, because he did ask, I think, the right questions, but he kind of like just jumped to conclusions and cut the patient off. So I would change his bedside manner and have him demonstrate attentiveness, respect, become an active listener, allow the patient to be well informed and involved, and to genuinely be interested in the person and not just a patient, not just another patient, and create like this partnership with the patient so that the patient feels involved in their own care. 3 or 4 behaviors, verbal or nonverbal, that would enhance interpersonal relationship between the provider and the patient are those exact things that I would change about his bedside manner. I just went over some of those things, just asking more personal questions to learn the patient's social and personal identity to see who he's dealing with, and how they're going to react to a diagnosis depending on what it is. I think that he definitely needs to slow down, be attentive and respectful, and more than anything, I think he needs to be an active listener. That is key. And the reason why interpersonal relationships are important between provider and patients are because it makes for better outcomes. The lack of good relationships between provider and patient can lead to all kinds of troubles in the healthcare industry. It can lead to harmful health outcomes. It can damage the provider's career because of, so many bad diagnoses or treatment. It can create a waste of time and money, and it creates burnout, both sides, from the provider and the patient, and in the end, the health of the patient can suffer from it. So that's why it's important to have good interpersonal relationships between providers and patients. Those are my answers, and I hope that everybody else is doing well. I want to point something out that has nothing to do with this. I want to touch upon mental health. I'm going through some things right now, and I just want to tell everybody that if you're suffering with any mental health issues, any emotional issues, don't keep it to yourself. Please speak to somebody. There's always somebody who will listen, family members, school staff, providers, friends. Just reach out to somebody. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.